what I'm trying to say here is that correct that DAO actually mimics sort of like a government, of centralized government that we see right now, or isn't that right?
Yeah. So the structure of a DAO is essentially, if you have 100 tokens and I have 30 tokens, I have 1/3 of the vote. So essentially, it's almost like a weighted opinion, so one person's opinion, is more important than another person's opinion. But when a DAO is properly decentralized, whereas, like let's say no one owns more than 5% of the total supply, then you're able to get a more democratized kind of opinion based on proposals in decision making. So yeah.
So yeah, what I'm wanted to say is that like there is obviously a government control over the population and people who are living in a certain country. So they have access, like law enforcement have access to take actions, to sort of say. But could this decentralization stuff like make it harder for them to impose law? Actually, this whole encryption stuff, whole security in Web3, which is way more complex than in
Web2. I think to chime in, I think the real kind of paradigm shift or watershed moment is going to be when we really see AI implemented on chain, right? I know a lot of projects are trying this now. We're seeing this dawn of new AI tokens, stuff like this. But I think once we can pair AI with on-chain governance or even just regular governance, that's going to be where things start really making sense, especially when you start applying quantum computing. I know we're still a ways away there, but it's something to where, technology is exponential. We're going to be there sooner than later. And some of the more interesting projects that I've been doing research on recently are dealing with this issue of what happens when you have a quantum computer that goes on the blockchain. And in the context of Bitcoin, right, you have 10 minutes before the hash rate will adjust, right? So naturally, after this happens, it'll be, the hash rate will be crazy high, but it'll adjust to that quantum computer. But it has 10 minutes between this block and the next before that happens. Imagine the damage that could happen there, right? So I think that, and this is kind of like really pumping the gas on the future of what Web3 can be in the context of decentralization and block heights and speed and TPS and all that kind of good stuff. But I think AI is really going to be, and people kind of talk about AI like, oh, they did more in a month than what blockchain's done in 13 years since 2008, whatever, right? But realistically, AI has been around since like a lot longer, right? Like the 50s, 60s, there was that AI kind of popular TV host in the 80s, right? So this is a concept that's been around much longer than the concept of the blockchain, right? So I think that once we can integrate the two, and I think that there is a natural marriage between the two, especially in the context of DAOs. Well, why don't DAOs work right now? Because human nature, right? But when we remove human nature and you have, similar to the way when you renounce your smart contract, you can make improvements, but within certain parameters, right? So same thing goes with the AI. Once you pair these two things together, as far as the AI running the DAO to where there's no room for, yes, we have great partners right now. This DAO works great, but 5 years from now, these guys are like, yeah, but I'm kind of over Web3. I've got kids. I want to retire, whatever, what have you, right? Eventually, on a long enough timeline, there's room for human error. Well, even if it's death, right? Your children's children who inherit those tokens probably aren't going to be the same quality of person or have the same interest as you do. But an AI will last forever as long as the consensus mechanism or incentive layer provides, value to whatever it's, value proposition it's trying to deliver.
But isn't that giving up control to AIs? To machines rather than humans.
At some point, it's going to happen, right? And it's the same as like the blockchain, right? We've given up control to the blockchain once you renounce that smart contract. It's there within the parameters that you've set. So as long as we really think through what we're kind of delivering as the core engine and allow for enough room for improvement through the improvement proposals, I think the same structure could kind of be emulated on the AI side in the context of governance.
So you've mentioned some, John, you've mentioned some positive integration of AI in Web3 world and the security and privacy Web3, but can you name like the negative sides of that integration?
I mean, to be honest, I just want to be a good house pet. You know what I mean? We've all seen Terminator. End of the day, we got to appreciate the fact that we're the highest form of sentience on the planet right now, and we haven't exterminated all other animals because we like them, right? We like birds, we like dogs, we like, monkeys, whatever. And at best, to a sophisticated AI, we are a house cat, right? I think it was Elon Musk who quoted that, right? So I just want to be a good, that's the worst case scenario. It becomes sentient, it ruins the economy. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that could happen. Or like I said, once you renounce that smart contract, if you didn't think through the outliers as far as this methodology for what the core engine is, you can't change that anymore. Then you either have you still need a dead man switch where, oh no, this is going the wrong way. In the context of cryptocurrencies, you can rug pull the liquidity, right? Like this project has gone terribly bad, it's been exploited, the community loses faith and they remove their money, right? So as long as there's that mechanism to where if this stops creating value, I'm going to shut off the system. As long as that's in place, I think we're relatively safe. But at the end of the day, I mean, whatever AI that reaches a level of IQ that's superior to man, it will always figure out a way to outwork us, right? Again, I just want to be a good house pet in the worst case scenario.
Okay, and Bernie, won't you think that this integration AI in Web3 is more of a positive or a negative to this matter?
Definitely positive. I think as John mentioned, that AI has significantly changed people's life because if a large language model is good enough for all the historical data. So basically, it's just a very simple output for anyone to keep track of the whatever the things that humans have been done for the whole past thousands of years, and it's significantly improved our working efficiency. Like I personally use it like on a daily basis. There's no doubt that this AI cycle, like since 2018 or 2017, has changed things significantly, especially for OpenAI, Microsoft, and the sweet spot for the intersection would be I've been seeing some projects for like AI trading, AI historical data for primary market and also like secondary market. So I guess it's definitely used for like plugging blockchain applications, and for the long run, and for the end of the game, we had discussion the other day. Eventually, the AI probably would be out of control of the human beings. That they have their own talent, the intelligence, so they could create something new without the orders directly put from us, and that's something like blockchain can significantly pitch in, because if we put all those AI on chain, which is open source and decentralized in a way, not completely, that could save human beings' lives in the future, because it cannot be changed as the blockchain's purpose. So I guess, I mean, there are many sweet spots for AI plugging blockchain for sure, and not some random AI projects they want to tokenize or so-called Web3 projects have some AI empowered technology. That's easy. I mean, by plugging GPTs, GPT Store, or other large language models, that's simple. But that's also can like change the way we work today.
And you, Olo, what do you think? How will the integration of AI in privacy will impact both negatively and positively?
So I do think that AI early will have a negative impact because no one knows how to regulate it. I think that blockchain, there was kind of a normal, kind of natural financial sense of how to kind of pull the brakes back and regulate the market, and KYC, AML. What is KYC and AML to an AI? So there's many different companies that are producing AI, but how would a regulator or someone who is trying to, put in consumer protection laws, approach AI and you know, begin to put those things in place. And I think that that's what Elon kind of speaks to when he talks about AI in this early kind of paradigm shift. And that's why I think it's really been able to grow rapidly the way it has, is because no one really has a clue on how to even regulate it. And blockchain has been regulated, you know, since 2016-15, you know, by SEC and other chair bodies. So it's really been stifled a lot. But I think that once those kind of consumer protections can be put in place, and, you know, AI just doesn't start running rampant on blockchain and paying everyone out, and you know, kind of running its own agenda. So AI, like that's kind of just my opinion on the whole matter.
Can you provide any specific examples how AI being utilized to enhance privacy in Web3?
So honestly, there's different financial platforms. One that JP Morgan produced, Onyx, and honestly, we wouldn't know because there would be on private chains. So it unless they actually, you know, offered information, you know, the Onyx platform, for example, it's built on a private ledger. No one can see transactions except for permissioned, you know, users of, you know, XYZ company. So it's like that would be my best example. Is something like Onyx, built by JP Morgan, just kind of but AI in privacy, you really wouldn't know unless they told you, because it would be private.
Yeah,
So.
I think AI can complement the interaction with data, but it won't be a facet of privacy, right? AI and privacy, I think, are inherently in opposition, right? Because AI,
Exactly.
the more user data it can acquire, the more powerful it becomes. So it doesn't want privacy, it wants to accumulate, right?
Exactly.
But I do think that AI can complement so if I have, say, an encrypted layer of my own data, whether that be my personal information files or otherwise, and I have a personalized AI that has access to my data, and you know, me and this AI are friends and we have shared access, or it only has access once I give it access, I think that's where it's complementary. But otherwise, I think they're kind of in opposition just by nature.
Bernie, do you have something to add?
Oh, you know what? I'll add one thing. So John, just for an example, so if an AI were to have a private key of yours, that AI would store that private key in a centralized database from whatever company you're running the service from, unless it's a completely autonomous blockchain enabled AI, and that would be the only way to really have a decentralized AI kind of giving you information that's not stored in a centralized kind of institution or DB. So I
mean, getting real technical, I probably wouldn't allow that AI to have access without a bridge, right? So it never actually sees my keys at all, but through some sort of bridge, it can then interact with whatever data I'm giving it access to. But there's some sort of third party that enables the AI to have access that's kind of benign, right? It can't actually ever see my keys, because for the same reason, right? The second it has access, what if there's who knows who wrote that code? Who knows if that's giving my data to whatever government organization? I think the risks are always there when it comes to AI.
Yeah, something of like a zero knowledge proof, to kind of say, hey, you know, I have my key, but I don't have to expose my key in order for you to know that I have the correct keys. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it turns out AI is not, it doesn't sound so good, obviously, for Web3 privacy and security, right?
Yeah, I would think it would be a very niche use cases is how I would probably think of, you know, the use cases.
Oh, unless you make friends with AI.
It's also kind of the old adage of garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you have an AI with malicious intent, then it's you know, endpoint will always be malicious, versus an AI who has very positive, very altruistic intent for your privacy, for your safety, right? But it really depends on the access, the kind of peer review of that technology before it gets deployed in the mass market, right?
But zero knowledge proof actually sounds promising here.
Oh, it's huge in the healthcare sector as far as like a lot of healthcare startups, they're basing a lot of their technologies around zero knowledge proof and patient privacy and data privacy. So like that's like that's their warehouse. So.
Well, that's a whole another topic up to debate. Well, obviously, I want to conclude our discussion with the next question. So, is the current trajectory or privacy in Web3 like sustainable and beneficial in the long run, or does it need a fundamental rethinking? Bernie can start with that. I'll admit, yeah.
So I think that it definitely needs rethinking because of the adoption of blockchain. What we've seen as far as products is that users don't want to write down seed key phrases. They don't want to be responsible in that manner. So you've seen the uprise of custodial kind of models that kind of put the Web3 to the background and just kind of give users seamless experiences and that sort of model. So I think that until a large enough demographic or user base demands transparency and decentralization, it's essentially going to keep we're headed down the same type of model where users really just want the experience and get what they need to get done, but they don't really want the ownership of being their own bank and all of these things that blockchain is meant to liberate people from. So.
And John, your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I'll second that, but I think as far as like closing statements go, I think that this is why to some degree we need regulation, right? After FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, we understand retail users are afraid of rather counterparty risk. So I think that it's a good opportunity for people to engage, because this is like the super cycle, right? When I first joined Web3 in 2019, people were like, hey, this is the super cycle, ETFs are coming. And this time around, I mean, BlackRock is in, Larry Fink is calling this a flight to quality. It really is something to where if you compare this to gold, right? Gold went up 350% once the first ETF went live in 2014. It's up like 2000% at its peak since then. And this was without a halving event, right? So this means that, so that's 350% plus a halving event, which is 50% reduction of supply. So that's like what, 700, 800% from, where we are now basically, or when the ETF goes live rather. So I think as a benchmark, it's, there is a lot that is, obviously up in the air. Well, especially with the nuance of AI and all these other technologies, DAOs still haven't kind of reached their fruition as well. So I think that now is the time to really start engaging and doing research, at least understand the fundamentals of what is distributed ledger technology, right? That's all this is. It's a decentralized Excel sheet, but you can do a lot with an Excel sheet, right? The entire traditional financial market runs on, Excel. So I think that's really kind of where I want to leave things as far as the need in some regards because of counterparty risk and how, when you get robbed, you want the police, right? It's a thin blue line of at what point is it too much authority and at what point is it too little to where I don't feel like I'm protected as a user.
Okay, so cannot agree more with that. And Adia, do you have something to add here?
No, guys, everything makes sense. And I would like to thank you all for your valuable contributions in today's discussion. And I hope you really enjoyed it as well. And also, so if our audience wants to connect with our speakers, you can find their contact information right in the video description. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Bye.
John, Alamid, and Bernie,
Bye.
have a nice day. Goodbye.
Pleasure,
Have a
guys.
nice day. Bye.